All right, this is our last scientific notation video. We have learned how to look at numbers and write them in scientific notation. We also looked at numbers in scientific notation and written them in standard form. We've also multiplied numbers in scientific notation, and now we're gonna divide, and it's our very last one to do. So I'm just gonna make up numbers as we go. Let's do 3.6 times 10 to the 4th power divided by 2.8 times 10 to the 3rd power. Okay, so just like when we were doing multiplication, I'm just gonna look at these two numbers and divide. I'm gonna go 3.6 divided by 2.8, and I get a big long number, and I'm gonna round it to, let's round our numbers to the nearest hundredth, okay? So if you look at that number, round it to the nearest hundredths, 1.29, okay? And then when we are dividing numbers with their exponents, we actually subtract the exponents, and we learned that when we were doing our exponent rules. So 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have 1.29 times 10 to the 1st power. Now I don't really have to write to the 1st power. I could just keep it 10. Just we know that that means 10 to the 1st power. And then I just want to double check that my first number is in between 1 and 9.9, and it is. So this is our answer. Okay, let's try some more dividing numbers in scientific notation. 6.3 times 10 to the 8th divided by 4.3 times 10 to the 10th. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is 6.3 divided by 4.3. And I'm going to round it to the nearest hundredth to get 1.47. And then remember when we were dividing, we just subtract the exponents. So 8 minus 10 is -2. Okay, and unlike the exponent properties, it's okay to do scientific notation with negative exponents. Okay, usually we don't. Usually we would do 1.47 and then divide it by a positive exponent, but in scientific notation, it's okay. So the last thing we need to double check is make sure this number is in between 1 and 9.9, and it is, so this is our answer, okay? Let's keep going. Let's do 7.3 times 10 to the 5th divided by 2.1 times 10 to the 9th. Okay, so 7.3 divided by 2.1, okay, 3.48. And remember, you can pause the video and try and do it yourself and then go over it with me. And then 5 minus 9 would give us -4. And that is our answer. Our first number is in between that 1 and 9.9, and then it's okay with scientific notation to have a negative exponent. Okay, let's do 4.3 times 10 to the 5th divided by 7.7 times 10 squared. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is 4.3 divided by 7.7, and I got 0.558 times 10, and then 5 minus 2 is 3. Okay, am I done? I just need to make sure that this number is in between 1 and 9.9, which it is not. So this small number, I need to put the decimal here because then the value would be 5.58, but our original number was smaller and we are making it bigger. So we need to subtract one of these so we won't make it, or else it would be too big. So we would have times 10 squared, okay? I'll just keep this one here. So it's kind of like the product rule. You got to make sure that first number is in between 1 and 10, and if it's not, you have to move your decimal, but then you have to account for that with your exponent with the 10. So let's do another one like that. 9.4 times 10 to the 6th divided by 9.9 times 10 to the 4th. Okay, so 9.4 divided by 9.9 gives us 0.9494 repeating, so that's going to round to 0.949 times 10. 6 minus 4 is 2. Okay, so this teeny tiny number times 10 squared. So in order to teach you this a little bit better, I want to see what this actual answer would be if it were written in standard form. So 0.949 times 10 squared, we would multiply by 10 twice. And we've learned that when you multiply by 10, you can just move the decimal to the right. 1, 2. So the actual answer for this in standard form would be 94.9. Okay, so we've got to remember that. That is the actual answer. So if I'm going to write that in standard or in scientific notation, I want to put the decimal right here, 9.49, because we want that number in between 1 and 9.9. And then I don't want to multiply it this many times because I already multiplied it once. So this is just going to be 10 to the 1st power, or just 10, okay? Now let's make sure it's still this number in standard form. So 9.49 times 10 to the 1st power would indeed give us 94.9. So it's kind of the same way as the product rule. You gotta think, you gotta make sure that first number's in between 1 and 9.9, and then you have to account for it with your tens. So let's do one more like that, and then I'm gonna have you practice it on your own. So I'm gonna give you one just like that.